the tide of refugees and migrants keeps flooding into the port of Athens. The United Nations says more than 500,000 have arrived in Greece so far this year, and a growing number are children traveling alone without a parent. Not far from the harbor in the heart of the gritty Greek capital, some of these unaccompanied minors have found a sanctuary. In a shelter for under 18-year-olds, Ahmed plays the Kurdish saz, a traditional string instrument. We've changed his name and concealed his identity. At just 16, he fled his home of Kirkuk in northern Iraq after his father was killed in a bombing.
Harus fajr ast unja. Harus char fajr panjar.
Ahmed's roommate is 16-year-old Hani from Aleppo, who escaped Syria's brutal civil war. Before arriving here, he hadn't picked up a pencil in 2 years. Instead of going to school, teenage boys were being dragged from their homes and forced to fight as Islamic State militants closed in on the city.
داعش أكثر شيء بتدبح العالم. بتدبح أنا قدامي شطحوا 2 ذبحهم لأنه يكفروا. وفي واحد كفر ويشرب سيجارة قطعوا له إيده. قدام عيني هدول شفتهم. أنا هون أبوي خاف علي قال لي اطلع سافر.
Ahmed and Hani are among 11 boys living at the Center for Unaccompanied Minors. With camaraderie and counseling, they begin to heal and deal with the trauma they've experienced. Dimitra Adamantidou helps run the shelter and acts as a kind of surrogate mother.
I think our priority is to make them feel safe and respected, and somehow this creates an environment for them that they can exist as children.
But nothing can replace family. Many of the boys traveled alone with the hope of reaching relatives who've already made it to Europe. Hani is waiting for travel documents so he can live with an uncle who found asylum in Switzerland.
أفكر يعني يصلوا أهلي لعندي وما بدي شيء. قاعد مستقبلي ما بدي بس يصلوا أهلي لعندي. إنه أسافر لعند خالي ويصلوا أهلي. لأنه أنا ما فيني أعيش بدون أهلي.
Most unaccompanied minors, however, find themselves on the streets. Exhausted and far from home and family, they rest up in Athens' Victoria Park before moving on. 15-year-old Ali is from Afghanistan and wants to get to Germany. He's been on the move for months and risked his life with human traffickers on a perilous sea journey from Turkey.
در کشتی که باید 20 نفر یا 25 نفر داخل میکردن همین قچاق‌ها رو ما 50 نفر بالا کردن هر لحظه امکان بود که ما غرق شویم.
According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, 24,000 unaccompanied minors officially claimed asylum last year in the European Union. That number could easily double this year with the huge influx of migrants and refugees. It's difficult to know the exact number of unaccompanied children arriving here in Greece. That's because many of them will declare themselves as adults when they arrive to make it easier to travel to more prosperous northern European countries. Even with thousands of children passing through the country undetected, Greece is still struggling to cope. The country's 12 reception centers for unaccompanied children can't handle the numbers that are picked up by the authorities.
Greece does not have enough capacity. So the Greek authorities have to strengthen the reception system in order to be able to accommodate all these children.
With so many left to take care of themselves, unaccompanied children are at risk of violence, sexual exploitation, and human traffickers. 21-year-old Ali from Afghanistan knows just how cruel life can be on the streets of Athens. He arrived here 15 years ago at the age of 6 with smugglers. As a teenager, he was often hungry and homeless. And when the austerity crisis hit Greece, he was the victim of racist attacks and stabbed 3 times.
البته نمیگم کلان مردم یونان فاشیست نه 20% اینا 20 از 100% 20% اینا فاشیسته گاهی بعد میزنه در اتوبوس the train, the park, हर जगह पे sini the madrasa.
Athens can be an unforgiving place for children far from home and forced to survive alone in a foreign land. Ali's fate is one that the boys back at the shelter hope to avoid. But with no guarantee they'll get the travel papers needed to leave Athens, their future is uncertain.